one of the most well-known investors in the space. Paul V, take it away.
Thank you very much. Yeah, really excited to be here. I'm also a member at the Modernist and known Steve for I think about 20 years or something like that. I don't know. It seems like forever, but you know, I've been with Pantera for the last 4.5 years, and Pantera, it's myself, Dan Moorhead from Tiger Management, and Joey Krug of Auger, and we've been just tackling this space for the last 2 years all together, but me and Dan have been looking at this space for the last 4.5 years. So, really want to just start off by, telling you guys a little bit about the path that Pantera has taken to invest into companies. And then, of course, what are some of the hotter trends in the industry right now? And then, of course, looking forward, what are some of the spaces that we think we'll be investing into in the future? And then lastly, just wanted to kind of throw out there what we think is needed for the ecosystem. So I'll just go forward. So starting in 2009, we saw people starting to speculate into cryptocurrency, and a lot of these guys were early gold bugs and libertarians. Starting in 2013, that's kind of when really Pantera started investing, and a lot of people started putting capital into Bitcoin. And then we started seeing some early investments into exchanges, wallets, and payment processors. What we think is sort of needed for, how do you buy, how do you store, and how do you, start speculating on cryptocurrencies. But, what we really thought was going to be the big use case for cryptocurrency was around cross-border payments. At the end of the day, banks are taking huge amounts of fees and really slowing down the process of moving money across borders because, they have an incentive to do so. So what if you could move money, move capital across borders without any intermediaries whatsoever? So we started investing into a bunch of different companies that are helping to facilitate cross-border payments on the consumer side, the business side, and even the enterprise side. And then now phase 4, which I think many of you guys have gotten really excited about. Have you guys ever heard of a token or an ICO? Maybe? What is that, right? Well, basically what is allowed is companies to fundraise and build decentralized companies, distributed companies, and of course, later on, decentralized applications. And this is really exciting for us because at the end of the day, this really enables more and more legacy companies to be disrupted. So I just want to point out a few areas of disruption that we've seen already. One area we think is around the sharing economy. So at the end of the day, there are a lot of middlemen in marketplaces that take a lot of unnecessary fees for performing actions that build brand and trust. One area that we've done is invest into a company called Origin, which my buddy Matt is the CEO right there, but basically, they are disintermediating existing legacy businesses by providing a decentralized architecture, tools, and platform for people to build the next decentralized Airbnb, Uber, freelance marketplace, etc. So, that's removing the middlemen. The next use case that we've looked at is, how do we enable new markets? With decentralization, you can build companies that, sort of run on their own and aren't controlled by one single entity. And then, of course, that means that you can build companies that sort of circumvent regulations that prevent certain use cases like gaming and gambling and payments that are associated with that. So things like, auger, funfair, things that sort of enable people to, basically speculate in a peer-to-peer manner without a middleman really enables new markets, global markets to be built around certain use cases. And then I'd say another area that we've done a lot of investments in is around marketplaces and data. So at the end of the day, Facebook, LinkedIn, and other companies, social networks, they basically take your data, they keep it, and they monetize off of it. Well, what if you can, freely share your data and make money off of it? And when data is actually contributed and consolidated and encrypted, then other companies and applications can build really neat new applications and products on top of it. So these are a few of the areas that we've made investments in and we think are really compelling. So another big trend that we're seeing right now is that, a lot of the speculation and buying of cryptocurrency started off in the U.S. But, in terms of investors and in terms of innovation, it's really moving over to Asia. China right now is, the retail market is rampant. And so in Korea, it's the exact same thing. We're still seeing a lot more institutional investors getting involved in the space in the United States. But we think that there are certain types of companies that would do very well in Asia. For instance, they're really known for something called the reverse ICO, in which existing companies see an opportunity to issue a token to fundraise, and they see it as being beneficial to their own company. And a lot of these companies have done very well in terms of doing their token fundraise in Asia. But we think that regulations plays a huge part in Asia, and so countries like Taiwan that have really good leadership, I think, can really create a huge blockchain hub. So guys like Jason right there are going to play a pivotal role to really, maybe bringing more innovation to, Asia. So another trend that we've seen this year is that, this is sort of what the stack looks like in terms of, the different types of companies that we're looking at. For Pantera, we've invested everything from layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. And, we started off doing a lot of layer 3 investments, DApp investments, because, like Auger, like Origin, we think that it's going to take a long time to build these companies. Even though the underlying infrastructure is not there yet, nevertheless, to build the UI, the UX, tools around, messaging, arbitration, things like that, it's going to take a long time. So we're willing to back entrepreneurs that can build alongside, what's needed in terms of scaling the ecosystem. And then, of course, I think the theme of this year is basically, we want to be able to come up with different solutions to scale blockchain technology. And whether it is new underlying blockchains that come up with different consensus mechanisms, or different ways of sharding, or maybe it's layer 2 where you're doing off-chain scalability, different ways of routing transactions. These are all potentially, hugely beneficial for the ecosystem. But at the end of the day, for any of these, scalability solutions, you need to build a community. And what's the biggest community right now of all these? It's Ethereum and Vitalk. He's done a great job of building a community where basically there's lines outside the door waiting to come in to talk to him. So, that's the biggest thing for all of these companies, is building community, whether you are on the first layer or whether you are on the second or third layer. I think another trend that we're seeing right now is, Asia has been very good at being innovative. And that means innovative in terms of setting up the legal structures to do different types of token sales. And then, of course, innovation in terms of exchanges. So we have traditional exchanges that have launched tokens that have served as, a way to get discounted fees or to do governance. And then, of course, even a new type of exchange called a trans fee mining exchange, where it's encouraging people to be very active with their trading so that they can get tokens in return for all of the activity that they do. For us, we're looking at a few different themes going forward. I'll break it down in just one simple sentence. We're looking for ways to get retail, institutions, and developers on board. And that means everything from institutions, custody products, institutional trading tools, to retail. It's going to be new consumer products, new ways to basically manage your assets. And then on the developer side, SDKs and tools to easily build on top of new technologies. And something else that we're really bullish on is we think that security tokens are going to be pretty big. It's just going to take a lot of time for liquidity and infrastructure to emerge. On the custodian side, we're starting to see some progress there, and we believe that that's the biggest hurdle for institutional investors to come in. Goldman Sachs, Coinbase, Northern Trust, they're starting to come up with solutions, and we'll think guys like State Street and Nomura will also come forward with solutions, and that'll be a huge momentous occasion. Also recently a deal that was done by BCG, Microsoft, and Starbucks is called BOCT, and it's a institutional exchange that was started by the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange. And again, it's going to provide an on-ramp for people to use cryptocurrencies in retail stores and also an institutional custody solution. And I think one last thing that I wanted to talk about is, what we really want to see in this space is more products that go live and that get people playing with it and involved with it so they can actually tell other people about it. So one project that we're really excited about is Auger. My partner at our firm, Joey Krug, launched it out maybe a couple weeks ago, and it's just really fascinating to kind of see the types of, it's a decentralized prediction market and types of markets that are being created already and the types of applications that are being built on top of it. So whether it's things like, how do we more easily create markets to even companies that are creating markets, at the end, we need more of these consumer applications so that people can really, have something that's tangible to talk about in terms of cryptocurrency. So that's it. I just wanted to say thank you so much. If you guys want to get more involved, I highly suggest, just playing around with some of these products that are out there, playing around with some of these non-fungible tokens, and really just kind of getting your feet wet with crypto-related stuff.
Thank you, Paul.